Have you ever wondered what it feels like to drift through paradise? Well, this cruise wasn't just a ride. It was an experience I will never forget. Hi guys, it's T here and this is Check-In with T. So I recently went on my first cruise experience and it was amazing. It exceeded all my expectations. So I went from Port Canaveral in Orlando, Florida to the Bahamas, and I went with Msc Seashore. It was a fantastic cruise ship. It was so nice, so pretty, so clean. It was pretty modern. I think it was about 2 years old and it had about 5,000 passengers. The cruise ship was massive. It had so many things on there. We had a spa, it had a gym, really spacious. It had an activities area for kids. The cruise ship was very family friendly. They had so many different activities for kids. It also had a kids club, they had a teens club, and they had, I think there was a cinema on there was VR rafting. There was so many things to do to engage with kids without even having to leave the cruise ship if you didn't want to. So I think from a budgeted point of view, it's such a good experience because sometimes when you go on holiday, you end up spending more than you had budgeted for, whereby I think the benefit of the cruise ship is if you get everything all inclusive, you know you're not going to spend too much on the cruise. So there was so much on there that we enjoyed. There were so many activities to do, but like I said, we didn't even get to sleep as much as you would usually because there was always something going on. And if there wasn't, we were at the casino or at the bar. Like it was just such a different experience. So it had like water rides for kids, you had different pools, jacuzzis. It also had a sky bar, it had a cafe, you had restaurants, you had shops, like duty-free shopping. It had everything I could think of. It was so good. It was really good. So we ended up stopping in two places. We stopped at MSC Marine Reserves and then we stopped at the Resort in the Bahamas. But honestly, I just wanted to stay on the cruise ship. So we spent a whole day in the Bahamas, which was really nice. Food was a buffet for breakfast, but it had everything. Honestly, for me, a good buffet has pancakes and waffles, which they did. I was just enjoying everything. It was really nice. Lunch as well was buffet. Dinner, we had a 3-course meal for dinner. So for dinner, you had like allocated times, which you would book before you board the cruise ship. So we had, I think ours was 7:30 and you get a 3-course meal, which is really nice. So you have a table allocated to you. So you do end up sitting with the same people every night. But we had a whole table to ourselves for the 5 days that we were on there for. And it was just really nice. Staff were really good. You end up meeting the same people. As I mentioned, there's about 5,000 people on board, but you just bump into the same people here and there. The hallway, so what we realized is the cruise ship is so big, so we constantly getting lost. Like it was so difficult to navigate where our cabin was. But what was nice is people decorated their cabins. So like you had people had like different things out there. So we kind of used that as navigation to figure out where our cabin was because the cruise ship is just massive. It really just blew my mind how big it was. And Nassau is a very colourful but small city. We went to the straw market, went to the Atlantis Hotel, which is really grand. It's very similar to the one in Dubai. And then we went to a distillery, had some really good food, some rice and peas, some fish. And then you must try conch fritters. I think that's like the local staple in the Bahamas. Quite nice. It reminds me of puff puff with, I want to say like crab inside the puff puff. I will certainly go back to the Bahamas just to, you know, tour a few more of the cities. There's also more activities that one can do. Tag your cruise buddy and save this video for your next travel inspo. Trust me, you need this type of escape in your life. So don't forget to follow me on all platforms for more travel content. Check in with T.